Everything you see on market shelves right now is an illusion. After May 25, a supply chain breakdown in seeds and garden materials will fundamentally change how you access food. Today, we're not just talking about what to buy. We're talking about building your own food bank when the system breaks down. In this video, we're covering 13 life-saving heirloom seeds that grow in every climate and produce their own seeds. Preparation isn't fear. It's a way of life. A seed you plant today is your family's food security tomorrow. If you're ready, let's start. Number 13, bush beans, the protein that fixes its own soil. Bush beans are an endless food security source. They grow in any soil. They fix their own nitrogen, meaning they fertilize themselves. Productive and storable when dried. A protein source that regenerates. Here's what makes them special. Beans host bacteria. This bacteria converts air nitrogen into soil nitrogen. Plant beans one season, your soil becomes richer the next. You don't buy chemical fertilizer. Even if people leave or can't access inputs, the soil continues regenerating itself. One bean flower produces 6 to 8 seeds on average. If you plant 100 beans and let just one plant produce seeds, you have 600 seeds. Plant those the next season. The cycle continues indefinitely. Dried beans require no refrigeration. Stored in a cool, dry place, they remain edible for 5 to 10 years. They grow in every geography. Harvestable every season. 1 cup of dried beans provides 15 grams of protein. The foundation of balanced nutrition. Preparation is simple. Soak overnight. Boil 1 to 2 hours. That's it. A single plant feeds a family for days. Number 12, kale, the vitamin fortress that defies winter. Kale is the infantry of plants. Frost resistant. Heat resistant. Disease resistant. A vitamin A, C, K, and iron powerhouse. One leaf covers half of your daily vitamin needs. Kale repels toxic insects. Most garden pests leave it alone. This means you grow it without pesticides. Nutrition that other plants can't match. As you harvest leaves, new leaves emerge. From one plant, across a season, you harvest repeatedly. If winter is mild, kale stays productive under covering and continues producing through late spring. From seed to harvest takes 6 to 8 weeks. Quick results. But the plant serves multiple seasons. Eat it fresh. Dry it. Pickle it. Every option is open. The nutritional density is staggering. 1 serving covers your daily vitamin K needs. Covers half your vitamin C needs. Covers 1/3 of your iron needs. For a disruption diet dependent on grains, kale fills the gap that calories alone can't address. Number 11, potatoes, the calorie king that grows anywhere. If one food could sustain a civilization, it would be potatoes. More calories per square meter than almost any other crop. Grows in poor soil. Grows in containers. Grows in bags. Grows in buckets. Minimal space, maximum calories. One medium potato contains carbohydrates for energy, vitamin C, potassium, B vitamins, and small amounts of protein. Grown properly and stored in darkness and cool temperatures, potatoes last 4 to 6 months. Seed potatoes are cheap. 1 potato planted produces 10 potatoes harvested. That's a 10x return. In a single growing season, you can turn 1 seed potato into enough calories to feed 1 person for a week. Preparation requires nothing special. Boil, bake, fry. No complex cooking. Works over any heat source. Stores without refrigeration if kept cool and dark. A bucket in a basement holds a family's worth of calories for months. Here's what makes potatoes revolutionary in a disruption scenario. A family of 4 needs roughly 2,000 calories per person per day. Growing potatoes in 100 square feet can produce enough calories to feed that family for 6 months. 100 square feet. That's smaller than most living rooms.
I started with potatoes because I had no gardening experience and wanted something that couldn't fail. Bought 10 seed potatoes. Cost me about $5. Planted them in bags in my small apartment building's courtyard. By late summer, I had 100 potatoes. Stored them in my basement. Cool, dark, perfect. That winter, when heating costs spiked and money was tight, I didn't worry about calories. I had potatoes. Dozens of them. Cooked with whatever vegetables I could find, they were complete meals. Filling, sustaining, reliable. The next spring, I kept 10 of those potatoes for seed. Planted them again. This time I got 150. Each year, the number grows because I understand now. Potatoes aren't just a food. They're security. When the supply chain broke down regionally last year, I watched neighbors panic. I cooked potatoes. My children had full plates. My wife had stability. My anxiety dropped because I had surplus. Potatoes changed my life. Not metaphorically. Literally.
Number 10. Chard year-round harvesting freedom. Chard is the plant that keeps giving. Planted in spring, harvest through fall. Planted in late summer, harvest through early winter. Continual leaf production from a single plant. The outer leaves mature first. You harvest them. Inner leaves continue growing. 4 months, you pick from the same plant without replanting. One packet of chard seeds, if you let one plant go to seed, produces enough seeds for a decade of gardens. Nutritionally, chard delivers magnesium, iron, vitamins A, C, K. The leaf is the primary nutrition. But the stem is also edible, sweet, nutritious. Nothing is wasted. Chard tolerates both heat and cold. Plant it when you want regular harvests. It produces. It survives. It regenerates. Minimal inputs, maximum output.
I wasn't a gardener. I was a busy professional working irregular hours. I needed a plant that didn't require exact timing or constant attention. Chard was that plant. I planted it. Watered it when I remembered. Harvested whenever I passed the garden. Some weeks I harvested weekly. Some weeks I missed a week. Didn't matter. The plant kept producing. On weeks when I was overwhelmed with work, I pulled a few leaves for dinner. On weeks when I had time, I harvested heavily. That flexibility changed everything. I stopped thinking of gardening as something that required perfection. It became something casual. Something reliable. Something that produced with minimal effort. One plant fed my family salads for 6 months. One plant. One seed. That's the math that changed my worldview about food security.
Number 9. Squash, the space dominator. Squash spreads. It covers ground. It establishes dominance over the soil it occupies. One plant produces dozens of squashes over a season. Winter squash stores for months without refrigeration. Summer squash provides daily harvests. Nutritionally, squash is carbohydrates, fiber, vitamins A and C. Seeds inside are edible, nutritious, storable. You don't waste any part. The reason squash matters in a disruption diet is production speed and caloric density. One seed becomes 50 pounds of food in a single season. The conversion is remarkable. Space to calories is the best ratio of almost any plant.
I had limited space. Quarter of a regular lot. I couldn't feed my family from it if I used conventional spacing. So I went vertical with some crops, aggressive with others. Squash became my foundation. I let it sprawl. I let it dominate. One corner of the garden became a jungle of squash vines. By fall, I was harvesting a new squash every other day. Stored in my basement, those squashes lasted until February. Cooked with beans, they were complete meals. Fed my family for months on one crop. The following year, I planted more strategically. Better spacing. Better trellising. More squash from the same space. Now squash is my calories. My carbohydrates. My foundation.
Number 8, carrots, the underground winter warehouse. Carrots store underground through winter if soil conditions are right. You don't harvest all at once. You harvest as needed. Pull one carrot, leave the others. They keep growing. They keep storing energy. Vitamin A content is remarkable. One carrot covers your daily needs. Critical for immune function, vision, tissue health. In a disruption diet dependent on grains, carrots fill a gap nothing else can match. Carrots are root vegetables. They store in soil or in sand if harvested. Properly stored carrots last 4 to 5 months. You pull them fresh as needed.
I live where winters are severe. Deep cold. Extended snow. I needed food that survived outside. Carrots became my solution. I planted them in raised beds in late summer. By fall, they were ready. But I didn't harvest them. I left them. Covered them with leaves. Mulched them heavily. All winter, when I needed carrots, I pulled back the mulch, pulled one carrot, covered everything back up. Fresh carrots in the middle of winter. No refrigeration. No storage failures. No spoilage. Just root vegetables doing what they evolved to do. My vision improved during the months I ate regular carrots. My immune system stayed strong through a winter when everyone around me was sick. One crop. Underground. Accessible all winter.
Number 7, garlic, the natural antibiotic. Garlic is medicine and food combined. Planted in fall, harvested in summer. One clove becomes one bulb. One bulb contains 8 to 10 cloves. Plant those cloves, multiply your supply 10x annually. Allicin, the compound that makes garlic pungent, has documented antimicrobial properties. Not a replacement for antibiotics, but functional when antibiotics aren't available. Raw or cooked, garlic provides immune support. Garlic stores for 6 months in cool, dark conditions. Doesn't spoil. Doesn't rot. Doesn't require processing. Simply stores as is. Number 6, beets, leaf and root nutrition. Beets give you 2 harvests from one plant. The leaf is edible, nutritious, harvestable early. The root is the main crop, harvestable later. From one seed, you get multiple nutrition sources. Beet leaves contain iron, calcium, vitamins A and C, beet roots are carbohydrates, fiber, folate. Together, they're nutritionally complete. Beets store in cool conditions for 3 to 4 months. You don't harvest all at once. You harvest as needed. Pull one beet, leave the others. They keep growing. They keep storing.
I needed a crop that fed me twice. I couldn't waste space on plants that produced singular harvests. Beets solved that problem. I planted them in spring. By early summer, I was harvesting leaves for salads and cooking. By fall, I was harvesting roots. One crop produced 2 seasons of nutrition. That's how I thought about beets from then on. Not singular harvests. Dual value. Maximum use of growing space. Stored beets lasted through winter in a cool corner of my basement. When fresh food disappeared from stores, I had root vegetables. When supply chains recovered, I still had reserves. That dual production changed my security calculus.
Number 5, heirloom tomato, highest yield and seed production. Heirloom tomatoes, specifically pink varieties, produce the highest yield and the easiest seed production. One plant produces 50 to 100 tomatoes in a season. One tomato contains 100 to 200 seeds. This means one plant produces enough seeds for 5 gardens next season. The mathematics of abundance. Plant 1, get seeds for 50. Tomatoes are calorie light but nutrient dense. Lycopene, vitamin C, potassium, folate. Processed into sauce or paste, they concentrate. One jar of homemade tomato sauce represents the nutrition of dozens of fresh tomatoes. The psychological factor of tomatoes is significant. Nothing signals summer like a ripe tomato. Nothing says normal life like a fresh salad. In a disruption, a fresh tomato is not just nutrition. It's normalcy.
I started with heirloom tomatoes because I wanted flavor my children would eat. Store tomatoes were mealy and bland. Heirloom tomatoes were alive with taste. One plant that first year produced more tomatoes than my family could eat fresh. I learned to preserve them. Canned them. Made sauce. Made paste. Dried them. By the end of that season, I had 30 jars of preserves from a single plant. That single plant fed my family tomato-based meals for 6 months. The next spring, I had thousands of seeds saved from that one plant. Grew 50 plants. That season produced enough tomato product to feed my family for a year. Tomatoes became my foundation crop. The psychology of it matters too. My children saw food growing. Watched me preserve it. Understood where nutrition came from. That education is something money can't buy.
Number 4, cucumber, hydration and preservation. Cucumbers are 96% water. In a disruption where hydration becomes challenging, cucumbers provide the liquid and minerals your body needs. One cucumber is 95% of your daily water requirement plus electrolytes. Cucumbers preserve well. Pickled, they last months. Fresh, they produce continuously through the season. One vine produces daily harvests for weeks. Number 3, corn, the energy tower. Corn is calories. Carbohydrates. Energy density. 1 ear of corn is 100 calories. One stalk produces 2 to 3 ears. One row of corn produces a family's worth of calories. Corn stores dried. Corn stores ground. Corn stores in almost every form. Corn also serves another function. Tall corn provides structure for climbing beans. Three Sisters Agriculture. Corn, beans, squash. Together, they form a complete nutrition system. Number 2, arugula, the 20-day harvest. Arugula goes from seed to harvest in 20 days. Fastest possible food production. Sow seeds. Wait 3 weeks. Harvest. Replant. Continuous production all season. Peppery, nutrient-dense, ready fast. When everything else is waiting for weeks or months to produce, arugula gives you fresh greens in 3 weeks. Number 1, sunflower oil, seeds, and pest control. Sunflowers are the system. They produce seeds for eating. Seeds for oil. Their height provides structure for climbing crops. Their presence attracts beneficial insects and repels harmful ones. One sunflower produces 1,000 to 2,000 seeds. Those seeds are calories, fat, protein, minerals. Pressed, they become oil. Eaten raw, they're nutrition. Oil is the nutrient that grains and beans both lack. Oil is the preservative. Oil is the energy concentrated source. Sunflowers provide it at scale. These 13 seeds are your foundation. Together, they address every nutritional category. Protein from beans. Carbohydrates from potatoes, corn, squash. Micronutrients from kale, chard, beets, carrots. Oil from sunflowers. Preservation from tomatoes, cucumbers, garlic. One packet of each seed costs under $30. That's your entire garden system for less than a single grocery trip. That's abundance. The 25th of May is the deadline because after that, supply chains tighten. Seed availability drops. Prices rise. The window closes. If you prepare now, you own your food. If you wait, you depend on systems you don't control. The choice is simple. If this video has been useful, hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach families who are still unprepared. Comment below. Which seed are you starting with? I read every comment. Subscribe and hit the bell because next week we're covering seed preservation. How to save seeds from these 13 crops so your garden never depends on buying seeds again. You don't want to miss that. Preparation is a lifestyle. A seed you plant today is security for your family tomorrow. Start now. I'll see you in the next video.